going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. What I got for you guys, and this one's the season 4 patch note. So let's go ahead and let's jump into it. So the first official thing you need to know is the playlist update. This is the playlist update that we have here for Warzone. Here's a photo. Feel free to pause if you want to check it out. This is going to be the playlist update for the next 2 weeks. This is going to be the playlist update for multiplayer. So 12v12 and Search and Destroy was added, and Battle Map 12v12 Prisoner Rescue. And then they also added these following to the quick play option. Now let's jump into the weapon balancing changes that we have. So the first thing is the shotgun pellets can now use damage priority. If more than 4 pellets hit a target, the highest damage among these pellets will be used. And then for melee weapons, we ended up getting the opposite. They got a nerf. The range has been decreased for both weapons and fist, and then also the damage has been decreased. Now as for the other weapons, we got a lot of changes, and mainly because the health has gone up. So from 100 HP, it's now 150 HP. I'll get into that once we get into the Warzone New Features, but basically they've adjusted all the weapons to that. So for the battle rifles, the Cronin Squall, the full auto bullets to kill increased by 2, maximum damage increased, minimum damage added, and then the semi-auto bullets to kill increased by 1, maximum damage decreased, and then the minimum damage increased. And then jumping into the next one that we have, these are the shotguns. We have the Bryson 800. It ended up seeing huge multiplier increases in every single part of the body. The Bryson 890 got similar changes. The Expedite 12 got minimum damage increase and leg multiplier. The KVB broadside is mid damage decrease. It's the only one that got a nerf, I believe, here. And then the Lockwood 300 saw many different changes, such as every single body part multiplier increased. So overall here, I believe most of these shotguns are going to be very overpowered. It might become the meta here in Vondel. But the next thing that we have is the Fennec 45. It says bullets to kill decreased by 1, so that ended up seeing a buff. That was the only SMG that got changed. Now we have some brand new attachments. So for the F-Tac Siege, we got the Akimbo F-Tac Siege, which a lot of people questioned if it was going to happen or not. It says unlock through in-game challenge 25 hip-fire operator kills with the F-Tac Siege to get it. The Cast-Off 74U also got the Cast-Off 17 barrel, which is added in the 74U progression, replaces the 5.45 tracer at level 9. Players who have progressed beyond this level will have it already. And then the KVB broadside, the 12 gauge Dragon's Breath, close range damage has been increased slightly. So these are the changes in terms of attachments. There's also some bug fixes here. I don't really like to go over bug fixes too much because there's just way too many that they usually fix, and it'll just make the video way too long. But here are just some of the bug fixes that we have here. Feel free to pause the video if you want to see them. Going on to the next thing that we have is going to be the gameplay. So right here we have the movement. So parachute weapon quick raise is now always used when cutting your parachute or landing for improved responsiveness on landing. This is the only movement update we have, unfortunately. It feels like the game moves faster on Vondel for some reason, but I think that's just a placebo effect because no other changes are listed here in terms of movement. Next thing that we have are perks adjustments. Bomb Squad now scales both explosive damage and clamps maximum damage unless the damage was direct impact. For field upgrades, there was only bug fixes, no actual changes. For the audio, there was adjustments. They added ability for war tracks to play in 3D positions from vehicles in the world rather than only the players riding in the vehicle. They also did some changes in the UI New Features, multiple attacker notify quality of life. When a player is down while simultaneously under fire from multiple enemy players, a text notifier will appear near their crosshair indicating the total number of recent attacks. So that way you can actually give some better information to your squads. Now here's some new adjustments that they also did. Added a new splash that calls out when a player is downed or killed. Players can now view skins for locked operators. Added the ability to select skins for tacticals and lethals. Added the ability to remove all your equipment attachments on your weapons by pressing and holding RT or R2, which will make it way faster to clear those. Improved clarity on which attachments have skins, are tunable, or are pro-tuned. Added a pro-tune tag to the loadout preview. Added pros and cons for all attachments. Improved usability of loadout select perk packages now can be double stacked. Improved the HUD for search and rescue modes. Added reticles and tracers. Added POI labels, general visual impacts, and then they also redesigned the scoreboard to help with larger matches. But the next thing that we have, these are all the global bug fixes that we have. Obviously, there's too many to go over, but here's just what it looks like. If you want to pause the video, feel free to check them out. Jumping into Special Ops, Cooperative added display information when interacting with previously claimed intel fragments, the number of intel fragments remaining for you in this missions, the distance to nearby unclaimed intel fragment. And then there was also some bug fixes. Jumping on to the next thing that we have, everything that I've listed up until now have been global changes, general for both Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone. This is now going to be for Modern Warfare 2. It says adjustments, tune spawns for Greenberg Hotel, Black Gold Exhibit, and Himmelmat Expo. Updated the rate at which UAV sweeps are performed for Infected Team in Giant Infected. And then updated class tables to include blueprints through Season 3 Reloaded. Moved the bag locations from the top of barrels to the ground on Black Gold and Knockout. Added score limit and time limit options for bounty. Adjusted weapon locations on Black Site in Gunfight. And then bug fixes here, some bug fixes that they have. They've pretty much mentioned right here. not too many important ones. But going into the next thing that we have, rank play also saw some adjustments. They've updated the minimum level requirement for rank play entry, level 45. So I believe this is also for Warzone as well. And there's new season 4 restrictions: the AR Tempest Razorback, the SMG ISO 45, and the melee Tonfa weapon. These are banned. And in terms of everything else, pretty much everything has stayed exactly the same. We got those, they got banned. And then here are the new CDL game modes and maps. So we have Albagra Fortress, we have Greenberg Hotel, El Asilo, Embassy, Mercado, Las Almas, then we have Hardpoint, and then we have Control. This is everything you need to know in regards to that. And then obviously there's going to be new divisional rewards and things that you will be able to unlock, which I'll cover in a separate video. But now we are into the Warzone changes, and it says adjustments. Al Mazrah Sandstorm. The sandstorm in Al Mazrah has subsided. All Al Mazrah City has now several sandbanks to climb upon. This is the only thing in terms of sandstorm that they mentioned, so it's only Al Mazrah City. No other location really got any map updates. And then they said landscape added vibrancy to vegetation throughout the map. So now the map should feel a little bit brighter. But the next thing that we have is the gameplay adjustments. All maps and all modes, which I mentioned earlier. The player health, the base player health has been increased to 150 from 100. With full armor plates, the combined total will equal 300. Regen delay increased to 7 seconds, up from 5. Note the above changes apply across all modes in Warzone, including rank play and DMZ. Armor plates and quality of life, players will automatically pick up 9 armor plates, 3 in the active loadouts, 2 full stacks in the backpack. Players will have to manually pick up armor plates beyond that threshold to create more stacks in their backpack. Armor box quality of life, players will now receive a fixed number of 6 armor plates from armor boxes, regardless of how many they already have. Munitions box, players will now receive a fixed stack of weapon ammo from munitions box, regardless of how many they already have. To clarify, lethal and tactical equipment will still only refill to the maximum the player can hold in their active loadout slot. And then vehicle fuel, gas cans will now drain a percentage of total gas while refueling a vehicle. You can now siphon gas out of a vehicle using a gas can rather than catching fire when out of fuel. The heavy chopper will now drop out of the air. We got to the other new features that we have. It says the Rejoin beta. Players that experience a client crash on their device will be able to reconnect to their match within 4 minutes. Criteria: the player must have at least 1 squad member remaining alive. This does not apply to solo playlists. There must be at least 5 squads remaining in the match. Note: playlist updates that go live during a match in progress will prevent players from using the Rejoin feature. Known issues: last remaining teammate disconnecting may result in an undesired spectator experience while the final teammate attempts to reconnect. And these are all known issues, but they haven't fixed them. Rejoin while still in the driver's seat of a vehicle will remove the player's hands, can be resolved by switching weapons. The functionality of Rejoin and rank play is detailed in the rank play section below. And then the adjustments, they have the Gulag kill cam. The kill cam has now been enabled in the Gulag. Pre-match lobby audio, so proximity voice has been disabled in the pre-match lobby. Exfil sequence, players are now able to skip the exfil sequence animation if they want. But going into the next thing that we have are the new features for Vondel. They said everything that is going to be new in Vondel will come later to all the other maps at some point. So the first one we have is the tactical amphibious vehicle, which basically is able to drive on land and water. And this is like the photo that they provided of it. It's a mid-range armored vehicle, accommodates 1 driver, 1 passenger, and 4 players in the back. And then there's the new dynamic fog system, new environmental system, though typically sunny players will encounter a varying degree of fog. So as they play through matches on Vondel, billboards found around the map will serve as a way for players to plan around the weather forecast. Just a quick note, the fog will not happen as often in Resurgence as it will in DMZ, so it won't be that annoying. And then for Vondel Resurgence, there's a new public event. During this event, players will be prompted to capture any several crates that are dropped from the sky. Capturing one of these will give you guys some very useful loot, including portable buy station, armor, munitions box, alongside some cash. In addition, a successful capture will give you double weapon and player XP for the duration of the match, which I think is pretty cool in my opinion. And this also stacks on active XP tokens that you may have on already. And then we have the reinforcement flare. This field upgrade will redeploy if eliminated squad member that is randomly selected. This is going to be one of the rewards that you get through the Vondel event, so it won't be there right away. And then the favorite supply box, same thing here. This is a rare supply box that gives you your 2 favorite weapons. But the adjustments that we have for the maps, it says loot update. Loot found on the ground and via supply boxes has been updated to include new season 4 weapons, revised attachments for most weapons. The armor box ended up seeing an update. Buy station price increased to 2,500 from 2,000. Munitions box buy station price increased 2,500 from 2,000. The backpack inventory, while attempting to loot an item that a player already has an active loadout slot, they will be presented with the option to stow the duplicate in their backpack. And then there's the marker smoke effect. Differentiated the color of smoke produced by various markers for easier at-glance legibility. Loadout drops equal red, deployable buy stations green, smoke grenades gray. And then we have the resupply perk. The time to recharge equipment has been increased to 50 seconds up from 30. Redeployed destruction damage, the explosion damage caused by a redeployed drone when it impacts the ground, has been adjusted. And then the bounty contract quality of life will be prioritized, selecting a target that is on the ground within close proximity of a player rather than someone who's just like spawning in. And then most wanted contract will now carry a flag on the back of their operator for the duration of the contract to better help enemy players track their enemy. So activating these might get a little bit harder now. And then they have the data heist public event, the gas circle final behavior. The Gulag also saw an update. The time to capture the overtime flag has been increased by 1 second. The vehicle fuel, the heavy chopper no longer catches fire when it runs out of fuel. Instead, it'll just drop out of the air. So you will survive if you are close enough to the ground. The gas can now spawn with fill percentage of 100%. And then jumping on to other things like gas damage, there's also armor plate adjustments, which is only for the Gulag. And then we have Gulag overtime. They decreased that by 1 second. Stronghold saw a big update. They ended up removing AI, so they're now starting to back away from the AIs. And then they've just done random changes to them, like white supply boxes were removed from active strongholds, and then enemy NPCs are gone. The bomb defuse objective has been removed from active stronghold. They've just done a lot with strongholds and pretty much like nerfed them, I guess you can say, because of the whole AI issue and situation. And then black sites, the UAV effect from completing a black site will now be shown to enemy players on attack map. The potency of enemy NPC combatants on the black site has been reduced. And then for Resurgence countdown timer is now dynamic, which the new feature means is if you lose a player on your team, like they disconnect, the timer is going to change accordingly to better help you guys. And then we have the Vengeance icon. This is an icon that will appear above the head of an enemy who killed you. So if you respawn and you want Vengeance, you'll be able to check them out and, you know, follow them. Track squad indicator. Squads will receive a HUD warning similar to the one used for interrogation mechanic. When a squad member has been eliminated and the enemy squad is able to see the position of remaining squad members. Redeployment loadouts. Players will now encounter more variety in loadouts that they redeploy with, and we've added submachine guns to the pool of weapons for third circle onwards. First circle, second circle is going to be handgun without attachments, then handguns with attachments. Third circle and beyond is either assault rifle, battle rifle, or submachine gun without attachments, and handguns with attachments. Interrogation. This feature, which allows a player to interrogate a downed enemy player to reveal their squad's position, has been enabled in Resurgence. And then plunder strongholds. Active strongholds are disabled in this mode. Abandoned supply caches will now be enabled from the moment the match starts during infill. And then for UI changes, the perk package name, players will now be able to see the name of their equipped perk packages. Buy station pings, a floating icon will now appear above the buy station to indicate an enemy player that has pinged for purchase. Scoreboard in the Gulag, players are now able to view the scoreboard while in the active Gulag match. And then for rank play, text chat are now able to disable global text chat. Now for Warzone rank play, there really weren't that much changes. The only thing they restricted were gas cans here, so I believe the Razorback and all these brand new weapons are still good to go. In terms of skill rating points, it seems like all that is still the same. Nothing has changed at all. There's a bunch of different rewards that you're going to be able to get. They didn't really show any photos here, so I'll be making an updated video to cover the rewards for you guys. But going into DMZ, we already saw patch notes on this, but they now have the FOB, which is the forward operating base. This is the photo that they ended up providing us with. And then for the weapon locker right here, they say insured weapon slots, insured weapon cooldown time, and contraband weapon stash size increases. So that's what the weapon locker includes. And then for the stash, you have the wallet unlock, the wallet capacity key, and contraband stash sizes increases. This is where you can store your money. And then the bounty board, it says personal exfil, barter recipes, and buy station discounts. And then for the communication station, this is the urgent mission access. So this is what the FOB's menu tabs are going to look like. The FOB contains passive objectives, a new set of mission types for players to pursue that reward permanent upgrades for DMZ. And then we have the Phalanx new DMZ faction, which obviously with the new faction comes in a bunch of challenges, missions, rewards, and things like that that you can do with that. They also added a new UI menu where players can view and track their faction missions, upgrades, and location challenges and notes in the mission objectives menu. And then there's the seasonal reset. So it says key and mission item stashes are resetting, faction missions are resetting, active duty slots are not resetting, contraband weapon inventories are not resetting. So that's like the only good news right there for those things that didn't reset. And then for Vondo, they have signal intelligence DMZ contracts, new weapon cases, and rewards, which I'll be covering for you guys in a separate video. And then they have the adjustments. So enemy combatants killed with suppressed weapons will now take longer to call in reinforcements. Running a helicopter into DMZ boss chopper will now aggro it. AI combatant damage has been adjusted relative to the increased player health. Stealth vest now protects against advanced UAV effects. So, and then there's just like some bug fixes, but this is everything you need to know about the season 4 update. I will have more videos covering the more important changes in more detail. This is just a full overview of everything, just real quickly trying to cover everything. But thank you guys for tuning in. It's been your boy Chizo. Hopefully I'll be seeing you guys again. Peace.